Hello, everybody, and welcome to the When Gaming Podcast. My name is Matt, and I'll be your host today, your solo host. It is only me here today. My brother is at work, so he wouldn't be able to do it, and I'm kind of recording at an odd time, so I couldn't get a co-host. But I believe next week the episode will be a normal, and we'll have either my brother Mitch or we might Dallas. My buddy from that I met on Twitter through the whole Respawn Aim Fire community. He is at Heel Smitty on Twitter. I believe he's joining me next week as well on the podcast, so we'll be back to normal next week. This is just like a quick episode because this week kind of got away from me. I was on vacation from work, and I wasn't really keeping up with the gaming news, but something came up that I couldn't pass on. So we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to go through the whole rigmarole here. You can find us on Twitter at When Gaming. You can find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/When Gaming. Those are our two main areas. You can also find our Xbox Live community if you just search When Gaming, and you can join us there and play some video games with us there. Obviously, today we are not streaming anything. This is just a strictly audio show, and it's only me. So that's what you're getting today. It's going to be a quick one. I'm estimating we'll probably be on here for like maybe 15 minutes. Just want to touch on this one main topic coming from Nintendo. What have I been playing? So Respawn Aim Fire, as I said previous episode with my brother, their BARF game, which is the Backlog Accomplishments with Respawn Aim Fire and Friends. Their game this month is Titanfall 2, one of my favorite shooters of all time, if not my favorite. I mean, I think Halo probably is my favorite of all time, but Titanfall 2 and the original Titanfall are right there second, and that's why I love Apex Legends so much. I've said that a million times on this podcast, and I've talked to anybody that I talk to. Titanfall 2 is awesome. That's why I love Apex. I love Apex because it's like Titanfall 2 and vice versa. So I've been playing Titanfall 2 with them. But solo as well, but also with them on Tuesday nights. It's been great. I mean, I fell right back into the game. I shook the rust off. It's a fast-paced first-person shooter, but it doesn't have, when I was playing Black Ops 3, I felt like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights when he's on the course and all the cars are whizzing by him. That's how I felt. I felt like everything was moving too fast, and as someone who comes from Halo, playing Halo first-person shooters and things like that, it's a little bit different pace, and I felt left behind, and I couldn't really get a handle on the gameplay. But with Titanfall 2, for some reason, even though you're jumping, you're wall running, everything is pretty fast-paced. The mixing in of the Titans and some of the tactical abilities that you have kind of slows the game down, and it makes for a nice balance. And that's just something I really like about the game, and I've been loving going back and playing it. I'm so glad that they picked this game for this month, because I don't know when I would have had an excuse to just go back and play. I mean, I think that now I might go back and play the campaign. I wasn't planning on it because I already beat it once. It's not a very long campaign. You can kind of knock it out. But I'm playing it on PS4 now, and guess what? I don't have the trophies yet, and I want those trophies. There's still one that's a bit tough in the campaign where you have to do this trial for speed, and you have to get under 13 seconds, and it's a really tough. It kind of reminds me of the Modern Warfare little training ground thing you have to do in under, I think it's 19 seconds. That was tough, but I got that one through. But I remember when I first played Titanfall 2 on Xbox One when it first came out, it was tough, and I tried, and I was not getting any better. So that kept me from getting a perfect gamer score in that game. So maybe on PS4 I'll finally do it and get the platinum, but who knows? So yeah, so I'm playing through. I'm also playing Wolfenstein 2. I've been playing Wolfenstein for almost 6 months now. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. I stopped playing for a while just because I was traveling a bit, and I had to be away from my PS4. It's the only reason why I stopped playing. Love that game. And then I finally just got back into it, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through the game. I haven't beaten it yet. Playing on the hardest difficulty, the second hardest difficulty. I've gone through this a bunch. The hardest difficulty on Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, is called Mean Leben, and I apologize if I'm butchering the German language, but that difficulty is the hardest difficulty, but it's permadeath. So you die, you go back to the beginning of the game. In order to platinum this game, you need to beat it on that difficulty. I don't have the patience or the time or the skill to be doing that, so I'm playing on the second highest, which is the same difficulty level, but without the permadeath. It's called I Am Death Incarnate. It's going to get me most of the trophies, again, except for that one, which is play on Mean Leben. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I think there's ways to cheese it. I think you can kind of like set up save points and go back and it doesn't count, or like, you reset your console, but that's also a lot of work. And also, I don't know if I'd want to cheese it. I cheese a lot of things when I play video games, and I'm also in for those cheap platinums. But with this game, I wish that it was, the first one, I could go back and replay the first one and get a platinum. All you need to do was play it on the hardest difficulty and get all the other, collectibles and things. But it was doable. The hardest difficulty was tough, but you can retry it as many times as you want. If you're watching me stream, I've been streaming on our When Gaming, twitch.tv/When Gaming. If you go, I'm actually working on a best of little video right now. I'm editing it together. If you go back and watch that, I die. There's one section on the rocket train that I probably die 150, 200 times, I would estimate. It was a lot. And then that's some on stream, some off stream, because I just got too frustrated. I stopped streaming. I had to play on my own because it was just me swearing and yelling, which doesn't make for good, or maybe it does make for good Twitch streaming. So yeah, Wolfenstein 2, I'm estimating I'll probably finish it by the end of next week. Maybe not by the next podcast, but hopefully I'll be able to have a whole complete look back at that. And then Youngbloods will be out soon, and that's a co-op game, and you can buy I don't know if it's called the Ultimate Edition, but it's like the special edition, and you can get a buddy pass. So that means if you buy it and then you buy the little extra, or you split it with somebody, that means you and another friend can play it. That's pretty cool. I'm probably going to do that with somebody. I don't know who wants to play with me. If you want to play with me, hit me up on Twitter or hit us up at When Gaming. So yeah, that's the two games I've been playing. That's it. Just those two. Titanfall 2, Wolfenstein 2. And I guess I've also been playing Apex as well. Season 2 of Apex has been great. The map is not great. I don't like it. It's like the map has been overrun by those giant monsters. If you're familiar with Apex, it's an island. It's called King's Canyon. And outside of the island in Season 1, there was these giant monsters and birds or whatever. And on the island is this repulsor. I believe it's the repulsor is what keeps those monsters outside the island. But now the repulsor in Season 2 was destroyed, and all the monsters are on the island. So they're running around. They're not really doing damage to they're not doing damage to players. I guess they could with the big feet stomping down, but they just kind of remapped everything. There's new buildings. There's new crevices and craters, and it's the same map but changed a little bit. I'm not a big fan of that. I am a big fan of all the guns they added. Well, not all the guns they added. I believe they added one, the L-Star. It's a special, it comes in a drop. It's one of the gold weapons. It's pretty awesome. It's my main weapon I use in Titanfall 2, so I kind of am very familiar with it. It's awesome. Yeah, so that's it for what I've been playing. So now for the big news topic. I think everybody probably knows what this is by the title of this podcast. Nintendo Switch Lite. So Nintendo announced they are releasing the Nintendo Switch Lite, I believe this fall. It's being released for $199.99, which is a great price. But there are drawbacks. For $199.99, this is a Switch that it says that it gets about, I don't know, it's a little bit better battery life. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably going to be marginal. You're not going to really tell, especially when you're playing games like Breath of the Wild. Those games are always going to kill your battery super quick anyway. But it gives you a little bit better battery life. It's a smaller console. The Joy-Cons are not removable. You don't get the HD rumble. And I think the biggest drawback to the Nintendo Switch Lite, or the biggest omission, that what they had to remove to make it cheaper, is that it does not dock to your TV. You cannot put it in a dock. You cannot buy an adapter to connect it to your TV. It is a portable console only. That is all this is for. you're taking it with you on the go. You're playing on your couch, playing with it in handheld mode, as opposed to the original Switch that can go on the dock and go on the TV. Now, the big question that you see, like I've been listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, the big question that people pose is, who is this for? It's very clear who this is for. This is for the market. This is not necessarily the people that were waiting for a cheaper Switch. I don't think that's true. I think this is more for on the kids side, and I think this is more for like if you're in a house with a Switch and you want another kid to have, you have two kids, and the other kid will get the Switch Lite, or you'll get a second Switch that's $200. $200 is a great price point to play the catalog of games that Switch has released, as well as all the indie games and everything you can download right from the eShop. Where it fails for me, and like I am all about taking my Switch on the go, but I primarily play it on the dock. Would I like to have like a more compact Switch to take with me and when I'm traveling? Absolutely. Like I don't take the Joy-Cons off the Switch when I travel, so having them connected all the time, not a big deal. HD Rumble, not a big deal for me. But when I'm home, I want to drop the Switch in the dock. I never have it in handheld mode when I'm home. It's always in the dock. So, that's what I have my original Switch for. Now, if they released this in 3 colors. It's turquoise, it's yellow, pretty cool color yellow, and gray. And they're also releasing a Pokemon Sword and Shield special edition one, which is pretty cool. It's like gray, and it's got it's like the turquoise and the magenta-ish color. Very cool. If they release this in other colors, specifically Atomic Purple, which is my jam, I would have bought one of these just because like having a second Switch, $200. It's not a drop in the bucket, but it's pretty cheap. And having an Atomic Purple see-through Switch Lite would be dope. Do I think they're gonna start releasing new colors like later this year or into 2020? Absolutely. That's Nintendo's MO. They're going to release a couple color ways now. Everybody's going to buy them. And then next year they're going to release a bunch more and, for different games, for different, and they're going to sell more. That's just what's going to happen. So when that Atomic Purple one comes, I probably would buy it. But right now, not even on my radar. The extra battery life doesn't do anything for me. I always have a battery pack with me, so it's never a problem. I bought the little charge and play stand, so almost all the time when I'm on a plane or I'm traveling, I have it charging anyway, just to keep it fully charged for in situation like if it's a situation where I can keep it charged, I'll keep it charged. Just so when I get to a situation where I can't keep it charged, where I don't have my battery pack or I don't feel like carrying it around, I can use it whenever. So that extra battery life doesn't do anything for me. It's the lack of dock support that kind of kills it for me. And I'm curious to see what other people think. So if you listen to this, hit me up on Twitter. Is this something like, I guess I'll pose 2 questions. If you already have a Switch, are you interested in replacing your Switch with a Switch Lite? Or if you don't have a Switch at all, and I know there's some people that fall into this category, especially my co-host, Silo Sword, Ryan, he doesn't have a Switch, and he's looking to buy a Switch. Now, I know that, and I don't know if we ever talked about if it being just handheld is a deal breaker or if it needs to be in dock mode as well, because I know he wants to play the new Pokemon game, which Pokemon games are pretty good mobile. You don't need to be playing that on the TV. I probably wouldn't do that. I didn't really play Hey You Pikachu on the TV. I kind of was playing that mostly mobile. Not Hey You Pikachu. That's the N64 game. Let's Go Pikachu. So I'm curious to see if you don't have a Switch, if someone didn't have a Switch, or just hypothetically you didn't have a Switch, what would you go in on? Would you go with the $299, classic Switch, the original Switch? Would you go $199 with the Switch Lite and sacrifice the HD Rumble, which again, I don't think that's a big deal, but basically you're sacrificing dock mode, and it's a little bit smaller. I really couldn't picture also my hands really working with a much smaller Switch. I'd have to put it in my hands to see, and then maybe I'd buy like a grip for it. But then it's like, you're really kind of, what's the point of having a portable Switch when you're sticking this giant grip on it, So it's an interesting move by Nintendo. I did expect it. I did not expect it to be completely not in dock mode. I didn't expect it to be only mobile, which I guess makes sense if you want to make it cheaper. You avoid having to do the upscaling. Well, I guess the dock does the upscaling, but you avoid having to have a processor and internals that can handle that 1080 output. So that makes it cheaper. So it's only, maximum is 720p in your hand, which is not a deal breaker on those screens. The screens are the right size where it doesn't matter what the resolution is. The games can still playable. I've always had a tough time reading menu screens on screens that are that small, but I think that's just my eyesight. Yeah, Switch Lite, it's here. Again, gray, yellow, turquoise. Those colors don't do it for me. The Pokemon Sword and Shield exclusive, I know that I was like kind of drooling over it at first. Dusty Hill, he was on Twitter, he tweeted it out, and that's where I first saw it. And it does look badass. It's just that that's not really, I've never been someone that's like bought the game exclusive consoles, like the consoles that are like, after one certain game. I always thought that was weird. It is cool though. But again, Atomic Purple is my shit. Release the Atomic Purple. I'll even go for the Jungle Green. Really any of the original N64 color variants, I would go for any of those. The orange one, the green one, Atomic Purple, of course. Smoke, I would kill for a Smoke Switch. That would be dope. I went on Etsy, but they do them on different websites now. But I bought Atomic Purple Joy-Cons for my Switch. I think I've tweeted out before at One Gaming. It's dope. I wish the whole console was Atomic Purple. You can't really do that with the Switch. You can change the back panel to be Atomic Purple, but you can't really change the front and the bezel to make it match. So it's not really worth it. You can change out the back panel, but I haven't done it. But having the Joy-Cons being Atomic Purple are dope. A whole like Nintendo Switch being Atomic Purple I could go on forever about this. I'm going to end it there. So I'm curious to hear from people and see like who's getting a Switch Lite and why. Do you have a Switch already? Is this your second, is this going to be your second Switch, or do you not have a Switch at all and you're jumping in with a Nintendo Switch Lite? Or have you been holding out like Ryan has, our co-host here at One Gaming? Have you been holding out like Sword has? And are you now forced to make a decision where you're like, okay, am I going to wait for the Switch Classic to go on a little bit more sale? Or am I going to take the $100 discount and get a Switch that doesn't have all the features of what I thought I was going to be getting with a Nintendo Switch? It's curious because I do think not having dock support is a big, it's in the con column for buying a Switch Lite, definitely. So hit us up at When Gaming. Again, twitch.tv/When Gaming. I've been streaming my Wolfenstein play. I've been streaming. What else did I stream? I believe I streamed Apex a little bit this week. I'm planning on doing a little bit more. I actually have my PS2 hooked up to HDMI through this little adapter that I got from the good people at Limited Run. Limited Run Games sells a PS2 HDMI adapter on their website, and I bought it, and I'm planning on streaming some PS2 games once I get my computer all set up. The first PS2 game that I am going to be streaming is the PS2 Pimp My Ride game. Yes, I found it. I had it. I found it. I dug it up. And for anybody who is sick about me talking about Pimp My Ride on Twitter, guess what? We're streaming it on When Gaming. I don't know when, but soon. And I expect you all there in the chat. And until next time, this has been When Gaming, because when you play games, you talk games, you make friends. We didn't play any games this episode, but we talked a lot about games in the Nintendo Switch Lite. And I will talk to you guys soon. Later.